Kids, it's the most shocking sports story of 2019. It might not really even just be a sports story, but rather about a guy who decided his quality of life was too affected by pro football to justify all the fame, all the money. We may look back on Andrew Luck retiring at age 29 as a kind of early warning sign about people deciding that the dangers of the NFL aren't worth it. But we'll let people who scream at each other across desks debate that. For today's show here, I'm going to talk about what's left behind, the fantasy football implications of Luck suddenly not being an option in fantasy leagues. What do we think might be the impact on the rest of the Colts? The whole thing obviously hinges on the replacement quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, and this is the concern. This is a nothing little incompletion from Brissett, a throw designed to just get him in the swing of things. First play of the game, 3-step drop, fine form, and it goes 5 feet over T.Y. Hilton's head. There's pressure, yes, but he's able to step into that throw okay. Second play of the same game, this is from 2017, the year Luck missed because of a shoulder injury. 5-step drop. Again, it's not a perfect pocket, but it's obviously a throw that should be made 10 times out of 10 by a starting quarterback. This is going to be my demerit with Brissett. It's about throwing accuracy. And obviously, this is an intellectually dishonest exercise, picking out a few incompletions and saying, see, Jacoby Brissett never completes a pass. He obviously does complete passes. But in a case like this, we want to watch pre-snap. Brissett correctly reads one-on-one coverage for T.Y. Hilton up on the left side of the formation. Pure man against a speedster like Hilton. That is a green light for an NFL quarterback. Give your receiver a chance to go get it. And Brissett overcooks it by 5 yards. It's the right read. It's just an inaccurate throw. Quick break to thank BetDSI for sponsoring us today. Oh man, I hope you didn't go to BetDSI and take a lot of futures action on the Colts winning the Super Bowl. I have an account at BetDSI. It's a great place to play if you've been looking for somewhere you can lay down some NFL wagers. I've had an account there for more than 4 years. I have great fun. I can really recommend it. And if you're interested in starting an account, we've actually got 2 promo codes for you. For frequent bettors, if you go to betdsi.com and use the code HarrisTube, they will match 100% of your deposit to give you a bigger bankroll. If you're more of a novice, maybe you want to make a couple of bets and cash out, use the code HarrisTube5. They'll match 5% of your deposit with no extra rollover requirements before you cash out. Either way, if you want to make some win total bets, or maybe who's going to win MVP or who'll make the Super Bowl, I play at betdsi.com. Okay, let's be nice to Jacoby Brissett. See, I can pick plays from 2017 that make him look terrific. I think you'll agree, watching these plays, plenty of arm strength here, and plays where he can make a touch throw or zip it in there with accuracy, it does happen. So while you watch these good things happen, I can also say the Colts are a better team now in 2019 with a better offensive line and a better play-calling coaching staff than they had 2 years ago. Brissett can be better, and it's obvious in his best moments he absolutely can be more than competent. Plus, we should mention, you're also getting some mobility with Brissett. I wouldn't say he's fast, but he's big, and his feet are okay. Honestly, he's about the same level of runner as Andrew Luck. He's willing to run. Certainly, it is not the first option. He would much prefer to pass from the pocket, but when he scrambles, he's okay. He's tough. He will take a hit and keep going. There is something there as well for the Colts offense to build on. So listen, it's not going to be the same, and it's not going to be as good. And in most circumstances, this evaluation of Brissett himself probably doesn't matter for fantasy football because he himself probably isn't going to be your answer as a starting fantasy quarterback. You know, maybe he's better in 2019 than he was in 2017. Maybe Frank Reich's system makes him better. Maybe we will take a look at him differently in a couple of months. But the reason we do the Brissett analysis first here is that it is the context. It's the context for the other Colts players that we were enthusiastic about drafting before August 24th. When Brissett was the starter in 2017, albeit with that worse coaching staff, T.Y. Hilton finished the season with 57 catches for 966 yards and 4 touchdowns. By his standards, a horrible season, and he played the full 16 games. 2 years ago, it was good for the number 24 receiver in fantasy leagues, that stat output, so it made him a low-level wide receiver too. And it could be better now, it really could. But Hilton has to slide down our ranks. One of the biggest hits that any Colts player is going to take. Before this news, I had Hilton at number 13 among fantasy wideouts in Standard, and now I have him number 22 in both Standard and PPR. Figures to be more of a boom-bust player than he already was, and he was already pretty boom-busty. Marlon Mack. I think in some quarters, we're going to get the argument, well, with Jacoby Brissett under center, they have to be a running team now, don't they? That boosts Marlon Mack's fantasy draft rank. It boosts his fantasy value. I don't know. Won't defenses know this? Won't they be able to play it more honest? Won't they be able to blitz less? Won't they be able to play more men in the box? If losing a star quarterback was a surefire way to improving a running back's fantasy production, why don't we always see RBs get better when their QBs go down? Like, for instance, Adrian Peterson, Josh Adams last year. Both of their main quarterbacks were out. Did they both get better for fantasy? Good quarterbacks are good for everyone. The teams score more points. Worse quarterbacks are worse for everyone. That's why NFL teams look for good quarterbacks. I'm not calling this pure disaster for Marlon Mack. Of all the Colts skill players, I demoted his rank least. But I did demote it. He dropped 3 or 4 spots in my overall ranks, and I slid Sony Michel and Aaron Jones ahead of him. What about my late-round sleeper, Nyheim Hines? It's a bummer. Everyone takes a hit. Sure, again, some will make the argument, well, Jacoby Brissett, not that good, so he'll have to check down more. 100 catches for Nyheim Hines. Once again, I'll say, if losing a great QB and starting a poor QB was such a great path to fantasy improvement for running backs, I think we'd see it happen more. A worse quarterback means a worse offense, and a worse offense means less work for everyone, including ancillary weapons like Hines. Still don't mind him as a flag player. You're not investing a ton in him. In a lot of leagues, he's going to be drafted in the double-digit rounds, if he's drafted at all. But I admit, some of the shine is off. For all the Colts skill players, Eric Ebron and Jack Doyle and Devin Funchess, they all have to be downgraded. Now, this isn't a promise that every single Colts offensive weapon instantly and automatically produces a worse season than they would have if Andrew Luck hadn't retired. What it means is trying to predict Indy's game plan implications over an entire year and definitively deciding, even as the Colts offense as a whole gets worse, which player might actually benefit, it is a fool's errand. We don't know. The pie is smaller now, and we're making wild guesses if we say, oh, goody, that means more check down work for the tight end. You can see at harrisfootball.com all my latest ranks, but spoiler alert, no Colts player rank went up as a result of this. Mack and Ebron went down the least, but to say anyone is now for sure a better bet, I think it's to look into a crystal ball that's lying to you. It's a sad day. It's sad when a good player, even one as goofy as White Shrek, decides to hang him up early. If you're bitter, I encourage you to take a step back and look at the finite span of a human life and ask yourself who you are to tell someone else how much they should and shouldn't risk. But I also get that rooting for football is fun, and it's less fun without Andrew Luck in it. For fantasy purposes, certainly the timing was awful, but if you still have time to adjust your pre-draft ranks, I suggest those Colts all get lowered, and some of them substantially. But what do you think? Let us know down there in the comments, and please like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.